College Football Final, presented by Mazda.
We begin the show glass half full, as we should, and celebrate some first wins for some programs across the country. One of them is Rice. Tom Stewart to Brad Rosner. Rice was hitting us up on Twitter saying, Rosner, 3 TDs, give him a helmet sticker. We'll find out. They did get their first win, 31-28 Rice. New Mexico State taking on Incarnate Word. And O.J. Clark
to the house.
77 yards. Shades of a young Joey Galloway. New Mexico State, they get their first win of the season. It's this point of the show, Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, Matt Barrie, that I tell you now that Akron is the last team.
Just like you to go negative.
You were positive.
All that positive.
We're positive.
You go negative.
I'm just building a story.
Well, there's still time for them to win.
All right, well, let me
Week
start
12.
positive here before we have to do something else. For the first time in 6 weeks, a top 6 team didn't lose. Okay. That's exciting, but one of the best players in college football. That probably the story of Saturday, and maybe the story of the season. Alabama taking on Mississippi State on the road. To a game-time decision. He would play, and early on he looked good fighting Najee Harris.
Najee Harris has 6 receiving touchdowns on the season, had 0 all of last season. He's become a pretty good receiver.
So a career-high 4 total touchdowns, then 2, a perfect ball to
Remember,
Jalen
Tua was a
Waddle.
game-time decision coming into this one with an ankle injury. He was 14 of 18, 256 passing yards, 2 TDs. He looked good.
All right, so this was big. Under 4 minutes and a half, Mac Jones had already warmed up. Looked as if he was going to come in, but Tua talking to Nick Saban. Saban cracks a smile. This is the very next drive after that conversation. 3rd and 4. Tua rolls out to his left, knocked by 2 Mississippi State defenders, and he's visibly in pain. Now, a couple of things. One, the helmet pops off. We saw a bunch of blood, and we're thinking, okay, as Tua's family watches on, that perhaps worst case scenario, maybe a broken nose. But what we saw afterwards is he got up and didn't put any weight on the right side.
Yeah, and that's the right ankle that we were thinking at the time. That's the one he had surgery on a couple weeks ago. And as he stands up and the trainers are helping him, and you can see he's favoring that right side, and we're thinking, uh-oh, here goes the ankle issue.
It was a worst-case scenario for Alabama. More on his diagnosis in just a minute, but Tua visibly in pain. We would later find out that it was a right hip, and he was out for the season. Here's Nick Saban at halftime.
We were going to put Mac in, and then we said, we'll let Tua do 2 minutes before the half just for practice. And, you know, I don't worry about players getting hurt, but certainly don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially him.
Saban visibly shaken, but again, that's the lead story here. Tua done for the season.
The way I looked at this whole thing is Tua's our #1 quarterback. If he's physically able to play, we wanted to play him in the game. That's what he wanted to do, and that's what our team wanted to do. If I would knowing that anything bad was going to happen, I certainly wouldn't have put him in that situation. But, you know, we're a team. We're a team that's trying to get better in the long term, in the long run, to see, you know, if we can finish the season the way we want. And I hate it that the guy got hurt.
Yeah, your heart breaks for Tua, who we know has had some injury problems while in Tuscaloosa. He's had the 2 procedures on his ankles and then now the rehab after the hip injury that ends his season for Alabama and perhaps another shot at the playoff. Now, we are not here to point fingers at Nick Saban because obviously he's not going to knowingly put a player in that situation.
You don't.
But 35-7, game not in doubt, player has been a game-time decision 2 weeks in a row. Should he have been in the game?
I love the fact they played him in this game. I think at that moment in the game, they need to take him out. Remember, he was a game-time decision. He wasn't 100%. You just mentioned it. 35-7. Mississippi State had 83 total yards. At that point, if you're Nick Saban, you're playing with house money. 3 minutes to go in the first half. You've got to cash in. You've got to get your best player out of the game, the guy that's going to be key towards you making a playoff run, because at that point, Joey, the risk of getting more 2-minute practice, it doesn't outweigh the reward of this guy hopefully getting you in a play.
We're still talking about the first half of this football game. And so as you guys see, this game was put away, and I understand that. Ryan Day must be crazy because Justin Fields finished the first half against a Rutgers team that they were blowing out. Dabo Swinney must be nuts because Trevor Lawrence played well into the third quarter against a Wake team that they were blowing out. Football coaches don't approach a football game thinking about a guy getting hurt in these situations. Once you decide he's playing, which they did, now you go with your regular plan for a guy that's playing in a football game, and because it was the first half, you let him finish.
But the reasoning he gave to me, how much more 2-minute work does Tua need? And he's been injured for the past. He just had surgery.
You're talking about a football coach that is the best to ever do it.
Correct.
And so when you're saying that how much more practice does he need, there is nothing like a 2-minute drill in an actual football game. You can't emulate it in practice as much as you might try because the clock is running, the communication, getting your plays in and out. I fully understand. And again, if he had hurt his ankle, I might agree with you guys. He hurt his hip. It wasn't the ankle that was the issue.
I think that at the end of the day, it's on the head coach, and you just have to exercise caution. And listen, maybe he was coerced by Tua into letting him get that last 2-minute drive. Maybe because they lost against LSU last week. Nick Saban knows he needs to win with style points. He wants to keep Tua in the game. But I think the difference in the example Joey just gave us with those other quarterbacks, they're all healthy. Tua is not. I think because of that, if you're Coach Saban, you have to have him on a pitch count. And I guarantee this moving forward, Fields, whether it's Trevor Lawrence, whether it's Justin Herbert,
nobody's pitch count. We do it every week in studio. We say the game is over well before any one of these coaches. There's not a coach in America that says a football game is over in the first half. And so, like I said, if it was his ankle, because if we're talking pitch count, if we're talking should he play, it's about the ankle.
But then
and if he hurt the ankle, that's the pitch count.
Warming up then? If the game wasn't over in Nick Saban's mind, why was Mac Jones warming up and was he going to go in the game?
Because
what difference does that make?
He changed his mind and he shouldn't have. That's all. He couldn't have predicted it.
You guys don't know he changed his mind.
He did.
You don't know Tua talked him into it.
He just said it in the interview.
You're coming up with that. You don't know he talked him into that.
Well, what we do know, Tua out for the season, up 35-7 towards the end of the half, injured his hip in a game that was clearly over. We thought this game was over. Oklahoma and Baylor, Saturday night prime time. No CeeDee Lamb in this one. Would that be a factor? 11:09 second quarter. Guys, we hadn't seen much out of the Baylor offense this year, but Charlie Brewer looked good early.
Well, they've looked good early this season. The last 2 games, they've been struggling a lot. So what does Brewer do? Go back to your main man, Denzel Mims, 2 TD catches. And how about that? Baylor winning this one 28-3. It's over.
Beat down in the Brazos, sailgating after the game, but Jalen Hurts not the best version of himself in the first half.
No, and this is the best defense in the Big 12 statistically, and we've not seen a defense make Jalen Hurts look this uncomfortable, make him make these kind of plays where he throws an interception right to a cornerback as he's standing there, put the ball on the ground 2 times, lost them, also fumbled another one that he recovered himself. We hadn't seen this Jalen Hurts all season long.
Career high 3 turnovers on the day by Hurts, but that was just through 3 quarters. Okay, so Oklahoma trailed 28-3 in the second quarter. Entering Saturday, teams trailing by 25 points on the road against ranked teams 1-902 over the last 15 seasons. That meant this game was virtually over. Fourth quarter, Hurts to Theo Weiss, breaks a tackle, scores one.
What you love
score
about
game.
Hurts, he's so mentally tough. He's so battle-tested. Even without CeeDee Lamb, throws for 297 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So now 3rd and goal finds Braden Willis.
And he threw it to 10 different receivers during this game. That's what makes this offense tough to stop. They spread the ball around.
4 passing touchdowns, matches a career high. We're tied at 31. Then Hurts using his legs to scramble and get the
Baylor's
first.
a good defense, but in the second half, guys, they looked gassed. They were running out of juice.
How about Gabe Burkich? No college kicker scenario here. 30-yard field goal. Oklahoma leads 34-31. So Hurts can't watch because Baylor's got the ball. Brewer's pass, living dangerously here, an opportunity.
And Baylor was moving the ball. So they only need about 10 more yards to see the green line.
Catch it.
This catch is, if they can catch this, they can get within field goal range so he gets another chance to live.
And then Brewer this time, no.
How about Benito? Drop the easy one, but make the diving tough catch and pick.
An unbelievable comeback for the Sooners, the biggest in school history. Down 25 at one point, and this is what it looks like. They had a 6% chance to win the game, according to ESPN's win probability model. Then they outscored the Bears 31-3, 25 points, biggest in history. Not a good first half, but a win for Jalen Hurts nonetheless.
You overcame adversity, and you remember for what you do in November. So It's a big-time win today.
You know, I'm obviously disappointed at the result, but I'm certainly proud of everything that, this meant, that we had this national stage, that we performed well at times on it, that, our goal was to hold them under 30, and we were right there at it.
I think people still see we got a lot of things to continue to grow on and get better, but I think this can be a catalyst for that. I think it will be. And our best ball is coming soon.
Talk to me about OU's D in the second half.
Yeah, in the first half, Baylor had 238 yards of total offense. In the second half, 69 yards. As you can see, Fred Motley here on the hustle. It's a good run by the Baylor offense. Things are rolling. And if you're going to make a comeback, you have to do it with your defense making plays and creating turnovers, which they created 2 in the second half. And 1 ended the game for Oklahoma, putting them away. And when you look at it, this was the Oklahoma defense we talked about early in the season. We talked about this team was complete because their defense was playing well. Now, in the second half of this game, this is the defense we expected to see as they make a comeback and give Baylor their first loss.
They had allowed 44 points a game their last 2 games out. Big reason why. They weren't getting takeaways. 0. They were dropping picks. In this game, they get 2. That's huge. They overcome the adversity. We've seen that now 2 straight weeks. They had to stop Iowa State in a 2-point play 2 weeks ago. So they get this win. It's huge. Now sitting at 10, can they narrow the gap with Oregon, with Utah, with Bama? They still got a big one coming up against Oklahoma State later this year.
At one point, Alex Grinch toasted the town, had a little bit of a rough patch there, but Oklahoma keeps finding ways to win at this point of the season. November's the month you remember. We'll certainly remember that game between those two. We remember what happened with Minnesota last week. They were rowing that boat against Penn State on the road, Kinnick Stadium, tough place to play. Special moment during the Iowa Wave. Number 14 for Minnesota, Casey O'Brien, 4-time cancer survivor, able to participate in the Wave at the Children's Hospital. What an incredibly touching moment for him. As for the football, under 30 seconds in the quarter, Tyler Goodson breaks some tackles.
Minnesota's up to number 8 in the country, finally getting the respect they deserve for being 9-0. And they go on the road at Kinnick Stadium, and they're the underdog in this game.
Tough place to play, 13-point deficit, largest Minnesota's faced all year. Could they row their way back? Third quarter, Gophers trying to come back. Tanner Morgan connects with Tyler Johnson, 28 yards.
Tanner Morgan so good throwing the ball downfield last week in their win against Penn State. And this one, 368 yards passing and this touchdown to Johnson.
Just a weird sequence here, all right? So Morgan tries to find Johnson again, but it's dropped, and then a huge hit.
It's 4th and 4. They throw the flag on the hit. Minnesota's about to get a first down with a chance to go in and tie this game up, and all of a sudden you start counting guys on the field. There's an extra guy.
And it's P.J. Fleck. What was he doing on the field? He was flagged for an unsportsmanlike conduct and asked about it after the game.
I run on the field to make sure he's okay, and then I come off the field. The play was dead, but my player is on the field, motionless. And I said, I'll do it all over again. But I didn't know when there's a red light and a green light when a head coach has properly said, you can now, there's a gate that goes up that says now you can come on the field.
Nullifies the penalty, so Iowa takes over. Could have been a big scoring opportunity for Minnesota, but they still find a way to get back in it. Rodney Smith touched.
Normally a very good running team, Minnesota is, but they only had 63 rushing yards in this one.
Missed the extra point, one of the bad beats of the century. And then Cole Kramer, he's in for backup. Morgan gets hurt. Riley Moss intercepted, and the Hawkeyes win. The Floyd of Rosedale. That's a pig, gentlemen. Flag, what say you?
100%. That was my message in there. I mean, this is, first of all, I just want to make sure, because I want to know the people of the state of Minnesota. This is not the end of the world. It's a tough loss. It hurts. It should hurt. It's a rivalry game. This is what college football is all about. Football matters in the state of Minnesota. It matters nationally. That's a good thing.
You know, back and forth type fight. I think our guys really kept their composure. They kept their focus and fought the full 60, and that's exactly what it took.
Jesse, what about that Minnesota defense?
Bad tackling. They're normally sound. They stop the run, they rush the passer, they get takeaways. But in this game, poor job tackling. Here, a simple off-tackle play by Iowa. 4 guys with leverage, you get a tackle missed, and it's yards after contact, and those pile up. It's not just D linemen and linebackers, it's players in the secondary as well. You use the boundary and the sideline as the 12th man to your advantage. You have to make a stop here. At minimum, just push this receiver out of bounds, but he's able to slip a tackle and get further downfield. Breaking tackles is demoralizing for a defense. Minnesota gave up 20 points by midway through the second quarter. They're going to play Wisconsin in a few weeks, and one of the all-time great running backs is Jonathan Taylor. They better do a better job tackling, Joey, if they're going to win the West.
Yeah, if you're Minnesota, you're still leading the Big Ten West. And nobody expected you to be here when this season began. Nobody expected you to be a top 10 team. And you went out and proved what kind of team you're made of last week against Penn State. It's tough to go on the road back-to-back weeks, and you have to play at Kinnick, where we know they've won some big games. Iowa has at Kinnick. And so if you're Minnesota, you go regroup. Get your game face back on and get ready to go out and win the Big Ten West.
You're such a good segue artist because I actually have a full screen on Kinnick.
That's what I'm here for.
And how tough of a place it is to play. The Hawkeyes have faced a team with a 9-0 record or better at home 3 times, and they're perfect, winning each by a close margin. And for Kirk Ferentz, his 3 wins over 9-0 opponents tied for the most by any Big Ten coach of all time. Still ahead is at a collision course in the Pac-12. Those Ducks and those Sox look good, and Utah gave it to UCLA. Plus, it's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Could UGA hang on and win on the road? Find out next on College Football Final.
College Football Final is presented by Mazda. Feel alive. And in part by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
You know, that Pac-12 alive and well for the college football playoff. 6th-ranked Oregon taking on Arizona. No one decided to cover Johnny Johnson.
No, this is in the second play of the game. Oregon on the outside looking in right now in the playoff picture, but they came out swinging.
73 yards. Then on a reverse, Oregon just getting all kinds of tricky in those snazzy socks.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson had 5 catches for 93 yards in this game. And Oregon sitting at number 6. Can they make a statement? And maybe Tuesday jump ahead of Alabama.
Hey, Joe, remember, they haven't lost in conference play yet. Their only loss this season was to Auburn in week 1 here. Herbert's Travis Dye.
Justin Herbert's been so good. 333 passing yards in this one now. 28 touchdowns, only 3 picks on the season.
I will tell you, they win 34-6, and it appears to be a collision course with them from the north and Utah from the south, taking on upstart UCLA, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This was really a microcosm of the night. Mika Tafua, scoop and score.
And Tafua will not get an easier scoop than this. Now can the big fella, can he get there?
Can he not get tripped up?
And we were worried his guy was going to push him down. Then this is just good old-fashioned Utah football, Zach Moss.
This is the best running back in the Pac-12, guys. He finished with 200 scrimmage yards and 2 TDs.
So Utah leads 28-3. Third quarter, Utah ball, 31-yard line. Tyler Huntley to Brant Keithy. Keithy spins off. Spin move, Keithy.
The spin move. Tyler Huntley, 335 yards passing, 2 touchdowns as Utah still leading the Pac-12 South with 1 loss.
That's a good football team, 49-3. Their lone loss on the season at USC. Georgia and Auburn. Deep South's oldest rivalry, 124th meeting. Georgia already up 14-0. Jake Fromm is going to find Eli Wolf. Third of the day. Georgia takes 21-0.
Fromm only threw for 110 yards, but he did throw 3 touchdowns. This one to the Tennessee transfer, Eli Wolf.
All right, so just over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Same score. Bo Nix finds Eli Stowe. Here come the Tigers.
Yeah, and how crazy is it? You're thinking, okay, it's over, 21-0. Best defense in the SEC is Georgia. They're going to shut them down and run this game over.
So Auburn gets the ball back. 9 to go. Seth Williams, 24-yard gain, Georgia territory.
Bo Nix attempted 50 passes, the most at Auburn since 1997.
All right, so very next play to Williams, goes down the sidelines, 14 yards. Auburn is on the move. 3 plays later, 1st and goal, Nix the keeper.
And how crazy is this? This is the first rushing touchdown that Georgia has given up all season long as Bo Nix stretches it out, gets it in, and now all of a sudden we have a 7-point game as Auburn has scored 14 points in the fourth quarter.
That dog is grumpy watching this comeback. So now 4th and 5, ball back. Nick keeps it himself, runs for 8 yards and a first down.
Yeah, the defense forced Georgia to go 3 and out to get the ball back. There's the true freshman quarterback showing you the wheels.
All right, so 4th and 2. They've got momentum. Remember, they just scored. Nick says Harold Joyner wide open.
It's a running back in the flat. If you don't put it on his hands, it's tough for running backs to spin. Should have been an easier pitch and catch.
Yeah.
Gus Malzahn has to be frustrated.
And, Joe, again, they had the momentum. Okay, so they would get one final chance. They wouldn't get it. They would force Georgia, again, to punt. 4th and 10. Nix drops back, just nothing good.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences in this Georgia defense versus years past, much more athletic up front in the D-line.
More athletic than Kirby.
You were regretting trying to chest bump Trayvon there at the end?
Hell no. I chest bumped Trayvon all day. I thought I might lose an ACL, but I was committed to it.
You know, to come into an environment like this, a really tough SEC West road game, and come out here with a win is special in itself.
You just don't know what to make of Georgia yet. I do know what to make. Their 3rd consecutive berth in the SEC championship. That is the longest streak by an SEC East team since them Gators represented the division in the first 5 SEC title games. Penn State looking to bounce back after getting boat rode last week. 3rd quarter, 20-14 lead. That guy having fun, as was Journey Brown.
Yeah, looking to bounce back. And Indiana's a really good football team, sitting at 7-2. But Journey Brown gets his 3rd career 100-yard rushing game as Penn State takes a 2-score lead.
All right, so 4th quarter, Indiana trailing 27-17. Peyton Ramsey sneaks it in. Indiana trims the lead 27-24. Ensuing possession, 3rd and 9, Sean Clifford. He had a good day with his legs.
Yeah, Sean Clifford struggled throwing it last week against Minnesota. He didn't complete 50% of his throws in this game, but you're right, Matt. He wasn't making plays with his feet. That one on 3rd down.
And this drive ate up clock, ate up time, and it was big.
Yeah, coming to this game, Sean Clifford had 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. In this game, he gets 2 as Penn State puts it away, and they have Ohio State next.
Yeah, all in front of the Nittany Lions, 34-27. All right, we have nominees for the worst fake punt ever. And why are we doing this? Because, well, that Penn State-Indiana game treated us to that.
You got to block somebody.
But I'm still trying to figure out the execution of it. Like, what was it? Let's watch again.
So you got 5 defenders.
All right, 5.
And you got 2 blockers.
All right.
Who has the advantage, though?
Well, the up back doesn't even know.
See, that's the fake part of
yeah.
it. That is the fake part. They
Snapper
thought
didn't.
There's no way they would do this.
All right, so that was bad, but this is our Kansas.
Throw it conventionally. Why the free
chest
throw?
pass?
Yeah.
We see that in those throwing competitions.
It's
at
almost
halftime.
basketball season.
It was like a half-court
basketball season
buzzer beater.
started. Chest pass.
All right, so the winner is Arkansas still. Let's let that live for a while. You know what long lives? LSU. That offense just keeps on giving and living on the road in Oxford. Plus, who's in? The rankings take a twist. How might Alabama be affected moving forward without Tua? That more still ahead on College Football Final.
The College Football Playoff Top 25 Rankings Show, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
So how would LSU handle the success of snapping the 8-game losing streak against Alabama last week? Well, the answer early was Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. Everything's fine.
Yeah, and Chase had a big one, 227 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. As you can see, he gets behind the defense, Burrow with his eyes downfield, always looking for the big play.
It's all part of a school record, 17 straight completions for Burrow, then Justin Jefferson in on the action.
Pretty good throw to these 2 guys. Chase and Jefferson become the first pair of LSU receivers with 100 yards receiving and 2 TDs in the same game. OBJ and Landry played there.
Yeah, but they played an offense that was like BC. John Rice Plumlee had one, 4th touchdown of the game.
Plumlee, 212 rushing yards, and if there's a question about this LSU team, it's their defense. As you look at the bottom of the list, who is that guy?
Look at the list. You know, he did something Emmitt Smith never did.
Not the only fast guy.
He can no longer run.
I'm not even sure how this happened, but Burrow again to Chase, another big game.
Yeah, 489 yards passing for Joe Burrow. There was just offense everywhere in this one. 1,328 total yards, 95 points.
Yeah.
LSU holds on.
489 yards passing for Burrow, a big one for him. But the major story in college football on Saturday, Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa out for this season. Lyle Kane, the school's orthopedic surgeon, announced in a statement on Saturday, also suffered a posterior wall fracture. This was not good news for Tua as he went in just before the half up 35-7. Here's Laura Rutledge.
Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is behind us here at St. Vincent's Hospital in Birmingham, and we know he's surrounded by his family. He's also heard tonight from head coach Nick Saban of Alabama, as well as offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian and Alabama athletic director Greg Byrne, as well as many others. His teammates certainly checking in, too. There was a great sense of relief when they found out from orthopedic surgeon Dr. Lyle Kane that this wasn't going to be as severe of a hip injury as they initially had thought. So they're going to keep him under a watchful eye apply here, make sure that they're making the proper precautions going forward to do what's best for Tua. I talked to some other college football coaches around the country, and many of them just expressing devastation for seeing that Tua's season would be over. One coach telling me college football just isn't the same without him. Another one saying they still thought that maybe Alabama, with some help, could get to the college football playoff with Mac Jones at the quarterback spot. But everything today, all about Tua Tagovailoa and hoping for what's best for him.
Laura, thank you. Tua took to Twitter on Saturday night just after 10 p.m. saying thank you for all of the prayers and well wishes. God always has a plan. And now let's take a look who you guys think could be in the college football playoff with the Capital One fan vote. All right, this portion of the program where Jesse and Joey always give us the rankings, but gentlemen, really the rankings are the same this week, the same 5 teams. What we do want to discuss now, though, each of you has Alabama ranked 5th. How will Tua's injury, Joey, I'll start with you, affect Alabama's ranking now and in the future?
Well, we'll find out with Mac Jones now starting the quarterback. He had a really good game, 18 of 22, against an Arkansas team that is not very good. So they have Western Carolina, I believe, coming up next. But then they play Auburn, which is a very good defensive football team. And I think the committee, and me and Jesse also, keep our eye on Alabama, see what they look like moving forward. Now, believe me, he's thrown to the best receiving group in the country, Smith, Waddle, Ruggs, Judy. So he has advantages, but we'll see what the Alabama team looks like.
Yeah, ultimately it's the Mac Jones show. Now, can they convince the committee they're a top 4 team without Tua? Now, if LSU goes on and wins the SEC, Alabama's sitting at number 5. They're essentially trying to build a case against Oregon, against Utah, Baylor, and Oklahoma. And Joey's right, the audition game is on the road at Auburn. That's a team, obviously, that already beat Oregon. Alabama has to win that game convincingly. It was already going to be hard for them to convince the committee to put them in without a conference championship. Now can you do it without last year's Heisman Trophy runner-up? But I want to point, while we're always talking about Tua, and we should be, in that win against Mississippi State, Alabama also got Ruggs injured, DJ Dale at D-tackle injured, they got Raekwon Davis injured. So it's not just Tua. A lot of key pieces for Alabama went down. We'll see the extent of the injuries, but that was a costly win for Alabama.
And you wonder, coming out of the rankings this week on Tuesday, I think a lot of the fans and people are saying, well, why isn't Alabama still at 4? They lost to a really good LSU team. Now coming off a victory, there aren't many people that think Alabama's going to be anywhere near.
It'll be interesting to see Tuesday, actually, because Oregon's rolling, Utah's rolling this weekend. And so does the committee on Tuesday say, without Tua, we no longer believe Alabama is better than those both Pac-12 teams?
I would hope the committee evaluates what's happened up to this point.
Not a futures pick.
No, it's not a projection down the road. It should be based on what we've seen up to now.
All right, so it's interesting. Top 5 remain the same. Alabama's the team to watch going into next week, and it's another big weekend, including Penn State and Ohio State in Columbus. No rest for Georgia. They host Texas A&M. And don't forget to give your Capital One fan vote via SportsCenter's Twitter handle on Monday. All right, Ohio State closed at about 52-point favorites against Rutgers. And gentlemen, we're going to do a little moral victory here on College Football Final, because this is the first opening quarter touchdown that Ohio State's allowed all year.
Upset alert.
That's right.
Yeah, they're close. It's 21-7. Rutgers came to play. They're in this thing.
I was also told the first half line, and this was 35. Ohio State didn't cover that either, so I don't know what's wrong with them. Chris Olave, great grab.
Chris Olave is the best deep threat that Justin Fields has. Somehow, look at the catch. 139 yards for Chris Olave. Justin Fields has a reliable target, number 17.
I haven't seen top plays yet. I wonder if that'll be in there. Luke Farrell here, 14-yard TD. Another great catch.
Yeah, and I was surprised when I saw that. When you look at Justin Fields in the season he's had, 305 yards was a season high for him.
They allowed 21 points, tied for the most this season. Fantastic finishes, starting in the Big 12, Texas, Iowa State. Both teams have played in 5 one-possession games this year. Iowa State 1-4 in those, Texas 3-2. How would that be a factor? 2nd and 35, Texas down 6. Sam Ehlinger, Brennan Eagles, one of the catches of the day.
And Sam Ehlinger, one of the better quarterbacks in the country late in games. 5 game-winning drives in his career, and right now he's got Texas in position.
In terms of big moments, Joey.
Yeah, that was a good catch.
It was a good catch. That's one of the biggest of the day. Some hyperbole there, but 4th and goal here. Malcolm Epps, this is the one I'm referring to, right? No, it's not either.
Yeah, it's a great throw, though. Sam Ehlinger now 63 career touchdowns at Texas, 2nd all-time behind Colt McCoy.
I'm just trying to make Texas receivers the best in the country. Under 3 to go, Iowa State driving for the win. LaMichael Petway, difficult grab.
That's a good catch.
Yeah, it's a good catch. Difficult grab. Pass interference on Texas. It was declined. First down on Iowa State.
So a chance here at a 42-yarder, Braden Narverson, but there's a flag on the play. Iowa State, new set of downs. Texas out of timeouts. Cyclones milk the clock. Now 36 yards out. Do we have a college kicker situation?
It's interesting. Before the penalty, the ball was on the hash mark.
Yeah.
Somehow, it got moved to the middle of the field.
They ran a couple more plays.
And
Connor Asali, not a college kicker. He drills it. 23-21. Texas all but eliminated from the Big 12. Iowa State snaps a 3-game losing streak to Texas. Great finish there. West Virginia and Kansas State, virtual lock implications for one Jesse Palmer. Kansas State first offensive play of the game. It looks good.
This is exactly what I saw coming. Dalton Schoen, he's running down the field, getting behind West Virginia's defenders. 68-yard touchdown. Let's roll, Wildcats.
At this point, you're thinking lock it up. But fourth quarter, West Virginia down 20-17, 3rd and 22. Jarrett Dagey flushed from the pocket, takes a deep shot. Bryce Wheaton, where's the defense?
Yeah, and Dagey had 3 passing touchdowns in this game, and somehow they forgot to play defense on Wheaton on the back end.
All right, so 35 seconds left. West Virginia up 24-20. Skylar Thompson, opportunity to be a hero, but he gets picked.
Picked by Hakeem Bailey. West Virginia snaps a 5-game losing streak, and they can thank Bowling Green transfer quarterback Jarrett Dagey and his 3 TDs in the game. Nice job on the road.
24-20 the final. West Virginia gets the win. Big days for Jonathan Taylor, Chase Claypool in that Clemson offense. They continue to put up big numbers. Plus, we continue our countdown. You can bet a Clemson Tiger is going to be in the conversation for the best ever to wear number 4. Plus, in a battle between schools from the opposite end of the Long Island Sound, the Merchant Marine Mariners reclaimed the Secretary's Cup over the Coast Guard Bears. 56-41 the final. Congratulations on the win. More coming up on College Football Final.
Welcome back to College Football Final, presented by Mazda.
All right, for the record, 2/3 of this set.
Sing it to me.
Couldn't disagree more with this treat.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Navy and Notre Dame, Ian Book and the Irish hosting Navy as ranked foes for the first time since 1978. You're thinking, why are these idiots in the United States playing O Canada? Well, because Ian Book to Chase Claypool was the connection all day.
Yeah, and Ian Book had a big game with 5 passing touchdowns, but of course we're going to play some O Canada music.
All right.
Claypool.
Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah, because 4 of them went to Chase Claypool, 6'4" from Abbotsford, British Columbia. When in doubt, throw Canadian.
First Notre Dame player with 3 first-half reception touchdowns in the last 40 seasons. You understand, though, you're alienating the American audience.
No, we're on this together. It's like a NAFTA agreement.
This doesn't feel together.
Is it? That doesn't feel together at all. Book, the first Irish quarterback with 3 5-touchdown games in the season. I'm going to keep emphasizing what Ian Book did. Irish win 52-20. How could there be Canada
multiple
in
good
Kansas and Oklahoma?
Players from Canada
I forgot.
very good in college football.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, 8th straight 100-yard rushing game, leads the nation in rushing yards. That's why we're playing the Canadian end.
All right, Oklahoma State's first drive of the game went 65 yards. Later, it's Hubbard again.
Yeah, this game was 24-0 at the half, and Canada was well in the lead. Chuba Hubbard, 122 yards rushing in this game.
Gary, don't sound like you're upset at Canada. I know you love.
I wanted Hubbard in the Heisman. I wanted Hubbard in the Heisman if we started doing that. Let's get back to America. Some good old-fashioned Midwestern football. Wisconsin, Nebraska. Jonathan Taylor. I must be missing the national anthem in my ear because I don't hear it. 14-yard run, 3rd quarter. They would score 2 plays later. 3rd quarter now. Taylor up the middle, 10 yards.
It's his 11th 200-yard rushing performance, tying him with Ron Dane, Marcus Allen, and Ricky Williams for most all time.
Dragged the pile, 10 yards, 17 on the play. Then Taylor goes 11 yards from score.
And it's every game he's climbing up the record charts at Wisconsin. 46 career TDs, now 3rd most at Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's 7th straight win over Nebraska. You know what that is? Just good old-fashioned American steak and potatoes football. Jonathan Taylor's historic career includes 11 200-yard rushing games. Only Ron Dane has more all-time in a Badgers uniform. Taylor's reached that mark in all 3 of his games against Nebraska, a first for any FBS player against one opponent in the past quarter century. Let us check in on Clemson, upstate of South Carolina. Senior day for the Clemson Tigers. First offensive snap Trevor Lawrence up the middle.
Yeah, we're
Hard
seeing Trevor Lawrence run a lot more this year, but he's got to do a much better job protecting himself and getting down. He gets bent backwards.
Kind of
would go to the medical tent. He'd come out with a knee brace, which he would stick with for the rest of the game.
That was the moment where I yelled, slide. He slid, and Joey laughed at me and said he didn't slide. He did find DeAndre Overton, though, for 23 yards.
Yeah, and they're making it look really easy on offense. This is an offensive team now that has scored 45 points in 6 straight games.
And then finds T. Higgins. This is just good ball.
Yeah, remember the interception trouble that Trevor Lawrence had?
That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah, he's thrown 13 touchdowns, 0 picks in his last 4 games. T. Higgins, 4 catches, 3 of them for score.
50 points in the last 4 games for Clemson. Very quietly, the defending national champions are having a historic month. Tigers joined Nebraska in 72 and Army in 44 as the only teams in the AP poll era to win 4 straight games by at least 45 points. The Black Knights team would go on to win the national title. Gentlemen, I don't want to make you sad, but there are only 4 weeks left of college football final, which means in our countdown, we started at 15. We're now down to 4. The best to wear the number 4 in college football history in our 150th celebration. Jesse, we're going to start with you this week. Who do you have?
Deshaun Watson, one of the all-time great quarterbacks, of course, at Clemson, was remarkable. Won a national championship in 2016. Accounted for 116 total touchdowns. He's one of 2 quarterbacks in major college history to have 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in a single season. Kyler Murray was the other. This guy won the Davey O'Brien multiple times, and now he's lighting up defenses in the NFL.
And I went with Champ Bailey because I played against this guy in the NFL. I know what kind of corner he was. 8 career interceptions, 27 pass breakups, 59 career receptions, including 5 receiving touchdowns. Yes, he also played offense. The only Georgia player to win the Bronco Nagurski Award as the nation's most outstanding defensive player.
I bet he worked you, and
I
bet he worked you. I'm going to go Steve Walsh. Why? Because the U were so good with him. Took over as a starter in 1987, led the school to its 2nd ever national title and a 12-0 record. This was peak the U. Still ranks in the top 10 among Miami quarterbacks in completions and touchdowns. So that was number 4. Here's number 3. We are no longer permitted to draft live here on the set. We've been told don't do it anymore.
Right now.
I think I've already taken point.
I like one of the last names.
You do?
On that list.
Okay. Well, I already took him, by the way. We're not supposed to do that.
Breaking the rules.
Still ahead. Virtual locks. Does Joey Galloway's heater continue? I'm being told people in Vegas are starting to take note of the virtual locks. And we had the Cortica Jug. 3rd straight win for Ithaca. They topped Cortland State 32-20 in front of a D3 football record crowd. And don't forget, one of the best bargains you can buy. The Disney Bundle is now available. You get ESPN Plus with great content like NFL Primetime, UFC, NHL, and the 30 for 30 library. And you get Disney Plus and Hulu. It's an amazing package of movies, sports, and shows. Go to ESPNplus.com to sign up now.
This is College Football Final, presented by Mazda.
Latest Top 25 show this Tuesday, 3rd week of the playoff rankings. Shouldn't be too much of a shakeup. Soon to do with Alabama 7 Eastern ESPN. Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan has not won back-to-back games against Michigan State since 2007. They're playing for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Virtual lock for Jess Lewerke to Max Rosen.
The offense looked good early, and Lewerke converted on a 4th and 1 on a zone read earlier in the drive. They were hitting some throws, and they were rolling.
Bit of an offense for Michigan State. Tied at 7, Nick Eubanks' 5-yard touchdown.
Shea Patterson threw for 384 yards, which is his career high at Michigan.
Yeah, we saw some good Shea Patterson on Saturday. Michigan up 27-7, then deep hitter Nico Collins.
Yeah, he was good in the pocket. He was good outside of the pocket. He's been a much improved quarterback here the 2nd half of the season. Harbaugh gets his first win at home with Michigan versus Sparta.
Yep, 44-10 the final. Florida and Missouri, another virtual lock here, 3rd quarter. Florida 1st and 10. Kyle Trask to Josh Hammond.
Missouri is 5-0 at home this season. They get Kelly Bryant back, so people are thinking they got a chance in this game.
Yeah, you know, going into the day, Florida's still trying to stay alive in the SEC East. That was all put to bed with Georgia. Either way, Florida goes on the road, gets the lock and the win, 23-6. Another virtual lock. This for Joey. Second quarter. Brady White, 14 yards.
And how would Memphis respond after that emotional win against SMU a few weeks back? They had a bye week, but they looked very energized early.
Yeah, and you know, Houston gave them a little bit of a fight, and Memphis tried to just put it away.
They really did. And when Houston was up 17-7, I got people tweeting at me wondering what the heck is going on. And then Memphis turned it on White, 5 touchdown passes.
And guys, that's what happens when you're so good. You're basically a sharp. The weight of the world is on your shoulders.
It's a big win, Barry. Yeah. That's a big win.
45
day, buddy.
to 27. So here we go. Virtual lock recap. Joey 1-1, or Jesse 1-1 this week. Still 14-9 in the season. 5 games over is good. Joey, the heater continues.
Dare to be great.
I want to quit now. I'll be honest with you.
No, you can't.
No, I'd like to stop.
Finish what you started.
Stop
18
at 18-5.
I don't even know. You're on like a 5-0, 2-0 streak. All right, what were you thinking? Auburn gets excited.
Oh. No, heavy guys on
You
on
can't
one
sit
side.
on the top 63.
No, that guy's hair could have caught on fire in the heater.
Wait, look at the bench.
Walk-ons or Scullies?
Those were Scully.
Combo.
All right.
Scully guys.
The ref gets pummeled here. The official, rather.
No, just.
And then another one. Watch.
I mean,
Look at Joe Burrow does
tackles
football.
Joe Burrow.
He was aiming for the umpire.
Yeah, but this wasn't the ref's ball. He barely moved.
And then the penalty dance. That's
He's letting their ref to make it rain or something.
That's Joey when we go to lunch catering and he sees the olive tapenade. He's like, give me some hummus.
That's $1.
It's a tapenade. And some helmet stickers are on the way. Who deserves them? Find out next. We had a team coming at us on Twitter today. Was it good enough? Find out.
College Football Final is presented by Mazda. Feel alive.
All right, UConn and Florida, little college hoops, little choops, 3 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, and the ESPN app. ACC football on Saturday. We had another one. Virginia Tech has found that groove. Oh, Bud Foster hanging out. Caleb Farley, interception, pick 6, Oski.
Yeah, and the ACC Coastal still very interesting with 3 teams tied. Virginia Tech, Pitt, all sitting there with 2 losses.
The ACC Coastal will change on Sunday when nothing's going on.
Yeah, but this has been a different team since Hendon Hooker took over as their starting quarterback. Here he finds James Mitchell. They win 45-0. And if Virginia Tech wins out, they're going to win the Coastal.
Again, they've kind of found that swagger, and we're going to do it here in our hurry-up offense, because who doesn't love a little hurry-up? Boise State, New Mexico as seen on ESPN2. Jalen Henderson and John Hightower big.
Yeah, keep your eye on these teams in that group of 5 as we look at these rankings. Who will be the top-ranked group of 5 team get to play in the Cotton Bowl?
Who lives more dangerously, speaking of, than Cincinnati? Sam Crows at 37 yards for the win.
This has been a team living dangerously. Remember, they struggled against ECU a few weeks back. This one good.
I love it.
Cincinnati wins 2017. I cannot wait for them to play Memphis.
I will
in a couple
tell
weekends.
you, in large part, college kickers stepped up on Saturday. Appalachian State had to come back against Georgia State. When they did big. Darrington Evans, this could have been a top play of the year.
Yeah, it really should have been. Georgia State was up 21-14 in the first quarter, and then 21 points for App State in the second quarter to put this game away.
So
definitely should have been in top plays.
If
there.
top plays were, that didn't make it, let's see what did. Noah Tongiai, Arizona State, Oregon State. Tongiai.
Oh, you saw the hurdle coming from miles away.
So you're not that impressed? That's number 5. Number 4, App State, Georgia State. All right, so if an App State play got in and it wasn't our guy. Corey Xavier Sutton. Okay.
How about number 12 is in there thinking, what happened?
Number 3, Yale Princeton, Smart Kids, Kurt Rawlings, and G-Pay SoFi.
Step up in the pocket, buy yourself some time, work to the left, double coverage.
Oh!
All right, that was a minus until the receiver actually caught that ball.
Well, how about it? Throws it between 2 guys, SoFi. Yale wins 51-14. Connor Sampson and Dennis Houston, Southern Illinois, Western Illinois. Is that a helmet catch?
Still won't let the guy go. The defender's thinking, I don't know what's going on here, but ref, this has to be a penalty because this guy is hugging my neck.
What is sticking on me? Oh, it's the other human. And the top play, Justin Fields, Chris Olave.
Chris Olave is pretty good. He's been making ridiculous catches all season long. Here, tracks the ball, catches it off of his legs.
All right, this is a great play. It was number 1.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a good one.
Chris Olave, pretty good.
All right, that's part of the program. Helmet stick the time. Here you see them. Who are they? Joey,
I'm going Kurt Rawlings from Yale. We just talked about him. 6 passing touchdowns, which is a program record. They play Harvard next week. Hopefully we can go to that game.
Caleb Barker, Troy, as they beat Texas Tech. 63-27. They beat Texas State, not Texas Tech. But still, it was a good game for my guy. A good game for my guy Barker. Single game record too. 6 TD passes.
Chase Claypool, 117 yards, 4 touchdowns. Big day for the Canadian Claypool.
Yes, Canada.
Ladarius Skelton from Southern, 133 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 182 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, as Southern has now won 6 of their last 7.
Shea Patterson, Joe, you mentioned it earlier, 384 passing yards against Michigan State. That was his first 300-yard day as a Michigan quarterback. Became the first Michigan quarterback to throw for 300 bills against Sparty since Chad Henne in 07.
I know Jalen Hurts had 3 turnovers in 3 quarters, but I also know Oklahoma came back. Biggest comeback in school history. 4 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, the reason why. Without CeeDee Lamb, he gets my final helmet.